Hello and welcome back to the GB Fantasy Football channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how Game Week 11 went, who scored the points, how the Premier League fixtures played out over the last weekend, and of course, those early thoughts ahead of Game Week 12 deadline after the international break. Now, if you could, down below, please hit the subscribe button. We are closing in on 1,500 subscribers. Hit the thumbs up button as well. With every Sunderland team video on the channel, the target is 100. Gets the content out there. And whilst you're down there, hit the bell notification as well so you don't miss an upload and complete the perfect hat trick. Now, without further ado, let's crack on with the video. Of course, Game Week 11 has now passed. Leave a comment down below on the video how your Game Week 11 went. Was it good? Was it bad? Of course, in only a single game week, the point scoring is never too high. We don't quite reach the heights that we did in the previous game weeks where many people surpassed that 200 point mark. So leave a comment down below. As always, with every Sun Dream Team video, in the description down below is the code to my Sun Dream Team League. There's nearly 500 of you in there, and if you are in the top 10 for future, when I make these videos, you will appear in an episode. So for those of you who are in the top 10 currently, you'll be in the back end of the video. Now, the first game of the weekend was Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United, a 2-2 draw. Of course, Tottenham, European team this season, with plenty of doubles coming up. Man United, some decent singles as well. So we'll cover a few of their teams, players that is. Bruno Fernandes, just a 6-pointer for him. Brian and Bremo, still yet to decide how I figured out I had to say that one. Got the goal. Matthias de Ligt with the 96th-minute equaliser after Richarlison thought he won it at the death. Matthias Tell also picking up a goal for Tottenham. Decent points across the board. Dorgu getting an 8-pointer overall with a booking. Sesko picking up an injury. They don't think it's too serious. A couple of weeks out, perhaps. For Tottenham, the clean sheet run has ended. Now, for those of us who don't own a certain Mickey van der Ven, this result was very nice to see. Romero picking up a 4-pointer in this one. Vicario, just the one. Spence and Porro, both 2. And Mickey van der Ven with just the 2-pointer. No entire length pitch run this week. No bullet header. No brace. Just the bog standard 2 points. And that's very nice to see as someone who doesn't own the most highly owned defender on the game. Richarlison with a 9-pointer in this one started with Kolo Muani, who went off at half-time with a jaw injury. They think it's still going to be a substantial period of time out, over 4 weeks at least, but not fractured as they thought at first. Paulinho, another one in the Mickey van der Ven club of somehow picking up points by hook or by crook, whether it's a goal, an assist. Got the 4 points this week, which is still a very decent return for a holding midfielder who picks up bits and bobs, but no goal return in Game Week 11 for him. Xavi Simons with the 6-pointer and Udogi with the assist off the bench for a 4-pointer. So playing out the spoils in this one, the 2-2 draw, points shared across the board, but most importantly for those of us who don't own him, Mickey van der Ven didn't turn into Pele. Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2 in a decent Saturday evening game to watch. Very physical across the board. Sunderland reminded me a little bit of Stoke back in the day with their physicality, but a lot better on the ball. Their recruitment in the summer. Sunderland are not a team that should be fearing relegation at all this season, and it's a breath of fresh air across the Premier League. We've seen teams come up from the Championship, be relegated the season straight away after for a few seasons now, and Sunderland are very much going to break that trend. Dan Ballard with a goal and an assist. Where were those points in Game Week 2, Dan? Of course, for those of you who do know, I brought him into my team. I think he was under 2 million at the time. Went off injured after 9 minutes. So he picked up 2 goal returns in this one. Of course, no clean sheets for either team. Mukiele with the assist. Robbie with the 8-pointer off the bench. Royce, just the 3-pointer for those of you who do still have him. Difficult fixtures coming up now for Sunderland, no. Arsenal, disappointing day at the office, conceding as late as they did. Coming back from a goal down. Now, if you watch this game, Arsenal were very poor and just the second best team in that first half by some way. Came out for the second half. First 25, 30 minutes in that second half. For some reason, Sunderland sat back, whether that was energy or other means. They kind of didn't bring that physicality that Arsenal struggled so much with in the first half. They got the goals through Saka and Trossard. But then Sunderland got a second wind in the last 10 to 15 minutes, and Arsenal didn't really deal with it at all. As you can see, only one substitution brought on in this game, and that was Mosquera for Eze. Arteta pushed them to a 5 at the back, and it didn't work. The lack of attacking options in this team showing finally after several weeks. David Raya, 1-pointer. Timber, 2-pointer. Saliba, 1. Calafiori, 2. Should have scored at the death or at least got an assist. And Gabriel with a 2. So for those of you who have gone for a double Arsenal defence or a triple Arsenal defence, this week was not ideal points-wise, especially in a single game week as well, where those prices are going to be heavily affected on those players. You're looking at 0.2 or 0.3 drops for certain ones, and if you do have 3 of them, it's going to be a big decision going into game week 12. Trossard getting a goal, so close to a bonus point in this one. 9 points for him. I think with a lot of the options looking like they're coming back for Arsenal over the next few game weeks at least. You're looking at Madueke, you're looking at Havertz, you're looking at Odegaard, you're looking at Martinelli at least. The minutes are going to be tricky for Trossard going forward, but he has been a very good player. Zubimendi got booked, got the assist. As for how he got booked in this one, I'll never know. It was a fantastic tackle, especially considering what Xhaka did less than 30 seconds prior to Eze. But referees will be referees. Declan Rice, 5 points in this one. Solid return, but he is a player over 5 million in value, so you are actually hoping for a little bit more points-wise from him, picking up himself a bonus point. Saka, star of the show for Arsenal, 14 points, 1 bonus point, got the goal, got a couple of tackle points, sorry, got a tackle point, got a couple of shots on target. The big decision, of course, this week was who to captain. And for those of you who did go for Saka, you were the big winners. Eze with a 3-pointer and Moreno with the assist. So poor day at the office for Arsenal. If you own Saka, you've done well. If you've got a double or triple Arsenal defence, there's big questions to ask of. If you want to take those price drops, or if you want to keep the assets going into game week 12. Chelsea 3, Wolves 0 in a fixture and a result that many of us could have seen coming. Wolves have been very poor this season, just to 2 points. I know they picked 1 up away at Tottenham. I think they might have drew at home to Brighton as well, if memory serves. But Chelsea well on top in this one. Pedro Neto, João Pedro and Malo Gusto getting his first goal for Chelsea. Just an easy game. Robert Sanchez in goal, picking up a 7-pointer. Decent returns so far this season for him. He's ticking along nicely. Malo Gusto was an enabler across the board earlier on in the season. With Reece James being pushed into midfield, he's now picking up more minutes at right back and actually being taken off after the 60-minute mark, which can sometimes lock you in a cheeky clean sheet where others might lose it. 15 points for him, 1 ppm short of 3 bonus points. An incredible return for a player that's not a lot of money in this game. Cucurella with an 8-pointer. Chalobah and Fofana at the heart of the Chelsea defence, both picking up 7. I'll leave the next one just for a little bit. Moises Caicedo, just a 2-pointer. Very disappointing returns for him. Garnacho, if you took a punt there, 12 points, a couple of assists, just missing out on 3 bonus points for him. Pedro Neto, 12 points. He picked up the 3 bonus points. Enzo Fernandez, how he didn't get a return in this one, I'll never know. And for those of you who did own him, or even put the armband on him, you can consider yourself very unlucky. And Liam Delap started one of his first games back since his injury at the start of the season. 3 points for him. Now the player I missed out, João Pedro, was one of my prime transfer targets going into game week 11. I got scared. With the return of game week 12, I was looking at further beyond just game week 11. I thought he'd start in this one. Of course, Liam Delap will start up front most games now for Chelsea in that number 9 role. You'd assume João Pedro will drop into the number 10 position, and then that leaves 2 positions behind him in midfield, which normally will be occupied by Enzo and Moises Caicedo. But of course, you can have Reece James in there, you can push Enzo forward. And it wasn't necessarily this fixture for me why I was spooked for João Pedro. It was the games after the international break. Of course, they've got Burnley away, I believe, and then they've got Barcelona at home in the Champions League. Now, it's a quick turnaround after the international break. I think Chelsea do actually play the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. And you've got João Pedro coming from across the waters, long travel distance, similar to how Enzo normally is with Argentina. I wouldn't be surprised if he is benched for one of them two fixtures. Putting Reece James into midfield next to Caicedo with Enzo Fernandez in that number 10 role. And for that reason, I've missed out on a couple of points this week. He did get the 10-pointer. He got the goal. He looked quite sharp, and that is a goal in back-to-back games for him. So I am 3 points down on the player I did bring into my team instead of him. But I was worried about his minutes going forward. Esteval coming off the bench, getting the assist. If he started more games, he'd be very much in our thoughts. But for Chelsea, a fairly easy 3 points with tougher fixtures on the horizon. Aston Villa 4, Bournemouth 0 in a very surprising result. Not as much the result, because Aston Villa have turned their season around after not scoring in their first 4 games, going nearly 5 complete Premier League games without scoring, that was, until Matty Cash banged one in. Their form's turned around massively. They're up into, I think it's the top 7 or 8 in the Premier League. But 4-0 against a very informed Bournemouth team is a big surprise. Bournemouth, for those of you who do still have those single game week players, Semenyo, just the 1-pointer for him. He missed the penalty. Would have been a decent return for those of you who have gambled on keeping him for some decent fixtures coming up. As for Aston Villa, as I said, 4-0 win in this one. If you look at the XG across the board, fairly even. I think it was just over 2 goals expected for each team. So to come away 4-0, picking up the 3 points after a European game in midweek, they've done really well. Emi Martinez, a big 11 points for him, saved the Semenyo penalty, got the clean sheet. Very good return. Matty Cash, I know a few of you will have him in your teams. 9-pointer for him. Probably should have scored in that first half. Just a little bit more elevation on that shot. He chips Petrovic and he's coming away with another massive haul in back-to-back games. Ezra Konsa, the player that I did bring into my team instead of João Pedro, falling just short of a bonus point. He normally picks up at least 3 on the PPM for his passing. Didn't pick up those extra 2 needed, so 7 points for him. I looked at the Villa fixtures long term, slotted him into the team, and just lost 3 points, unfortunately, this week, which isn't ideal. Digne got the assist, 11 points for him and the clean sheet, picking up in bonus point. Pau Torres, clean sheet for him as well. Into midfield for Aston Villa, Buendia, 12-pointer, a bonus point, fantastic free kick goal, lifting it over the wall, keeper didn't stand a chance. Kamara, 4 points for him, a bonus point and a booking to his name. John McGinn, ticking over as he normally does, 5 points for him, 1 bonus point. Onana, continuing a trend for Aston Villa recently, scoring goals outside the box, 10 points for him. Morgan Rogers, some of you will have owned him in the game, had an assist initially, it was taken away from him. I think it's quite harsh, to be honest. Just a 1-pointer for him. And Ollie Watkins blanking once again. A player that started the campaign at 5.5 million in value. Probably going to be close to 4 million in not too long at all. Ross Barkley, 10 points for him, picking himself up a goal. Daniel Marlin coming off the bench as well, 8-pointer. And Tielemans with an assist. So lots of points for the Aston Villa players. A shock result, scoreline-wise that is, but I'm sure Aston Villa fans won't mind at all with how this game played out. They're on decent form. Hopefully, they'll carry that past game week 12 and beyond. Brentford 3, Newcastle United 1. More troubles on the road this season for them. It's like chalk and cheese with Newcastle. At St James's Park, incredible form across the board basically this season. Champions League-wise, they've only lost 1 game, and that was at home to Barcelona. Away from home, in the league, abysmal. Thiago for Brentford picking up 2 goals. Kevin Sade getting 1 for himself as well. And Harvey Barnes picking up the 1 goal for Newcastle. For Thiago, a massive 17 points in a single game week. So for those of you who did bring him in, it was on the differential video this week, just gone. Congratulations, massive return for him. Kevin Sade picking up the 9 points on the Brentford side of things. On to Newcastle, just very disappointing. Nick Pope, 4 points for him, got a bonus point, got a save point. But if you speak to Newcastle fans, his time is ticking. He's struggling so much handling that ball. He can't grab crosses. He's consistently punching them and putting his back four in danger. Aaron Ramsdale, I know him from his time at Arsenal. He's not the most incredible of goalkeepers, but Pope is causing that defence even more issues. Kieran Trippier, -1 for him this week, no bonus point. Got himself a booking, and of course, the same as the back line, conceded 3 goals. Botman, 0-pointer for him. Dan Burn, 2 yellow cards, picking himself up a red card, -2 for Dan Burn owners. And Malik Chow, someone in my team, actually picked up an actual point. No negative, no minus. So I will gladly take that in a 3-1 victory where 2 out of his other 3 defenders have picked up minus points. So 1-pointer for him. Bruno Guimaraes, 3 points. Tonali 2. Joelinton taken off with a fairly early injury in this one. Just a 1-pointer for him. And into the attack, there was a no-show from, of course, Anthony Gordon. He picked up the injury, the hip injury in the Champions League in midweek. How bad that's going to be, we don't know. But points-wise in the Premier League, he hasn't really been firing on all cylinders anyway. Jacob Murphy with a 2-pointer. Voltemada, for those of you who did keep him, if you had to choose between Anthony Gordon and Voltemada this week, Voltemada would have stayed on the basis that he probably was going to play this one. And he's returned, he's got you the assist for the Harvey Barnes goal. And of course, Harvey Barnes did score as well. Whether he will be an option long term is still yet to be seen. We do need to figure out and be told by the Newcastle injury staff and Eddie Howe, of course, if he doesn't lie, how long Anthony Gordon's injury is. But will we be rushing back there with Newcastle's poor form? I'm not too sure. If anything, it might be a time where their players might be coming out. Crystal Palace 0, Brighton 0 in a big derby of sorts in this one. On the Brighton side of things, points-wise, for Bruggen with a 9, Dunk with 7, Kadioglu with a 9-pointer, and Van Heck with 7 points, of course, picking up that clean sheet. Gomez, I know a few of you would have had him as a cheaper option from his antics and a 4-goal haul from the Carabao Cup earlier this season. He got himself 7 points, but nothing too much to talk about on the Brighton side of things. As for Palace, where many of us would have gone for reliability on minutes, their team doesn't necessarily change all the time. And we've probably got at least 2 or 3 players in our own teams. Dean Henderson, 9-pointer for him, slowly starting to pick up momentum. When I first brought him into my team instead of Donnarumma at Manchester City, it looked like a bad decision. Henderson's picked up a few clean sheets over the past few game weeks, so I'm very thankful for that. Picked up a bonus point, picked up a save point, as I said, 9 points for him. No Mark Gay in this fixture. It was a no-show. It looked towards the back end of that Conference League game. He was in a bit of, not distress, he was a bit annoyed that he got caught by the opposition player. And it just looked like it was one of them ones where he got kicked and there was 30 seconds or so to go in the game and he was thinking, why on earth have you done that? But clearly there was more to it. A heavily bruised bone on his foot ruled him out of this fixture. So for those of you who did own him, you can consider yourself very unlucky not to pick up the clean sheet in this one. Canvo filling in at left centre half, 8-pointer for him. Chris Richards with a 9-pointer, picking himself up a bonus point. Lacroix off the back of his big goal in the Conference League, of course, an 8-pointer for him. Daniel Munoz picks up the clean sheet, but he's not picking up those extra bits and pieces recently. Is that to do with Lerma in midfield? Not necessarily giving him the best outlet compared to someone like a Wharton in there, perhaps. But you'd associate Munoz with tackle points, mainly. The occasional bonus point along the way. And of course, with him being so high up the pitch, attacking threat as well. And that's not really been there. He's a very expensive asset. He's touching 6 million in value. Is he worth the money? Now, he's earned the right to stay a little bit longer. But if the clean sheets dry up, and he's not picking up those bits and pieces, then there's a conversation to be had there. Lerma, 1-pointer for him. Tyreek Mitchell, if he was someone the same as Munoz on the other side, I think we'd both have Mitchell and Munoz in our teams if Sosa wasn't knocking about. 12-pointer for Mitchell. Wharton, just a 2-pointer. Ismail Assar, 4 points in this, picking himself up a bonus point, fresh off the back of his double goal brace in the Conference League against AZ Alkmaar. Kamada started in a more number 10 position, a player that's been in my team for the majority of the season. Probably should have scored in this game, missed a very big chance. And Mateta up front, just a 2-pointer from him. A blank in a fixture where I'm sure people would have brought him in on the back of a decent points return in game week 10. So for Palace, defensive-wise, if you had double, triple, or a block at the back, you've done really well. In midfield, not too many points, and then up front, bit of a blank as well. So for Palace assets, I think we keep them for a little bit longer at least. Nottingham Forest 3, Leeds United 1, and this was the fixture that I watched on the Sunday afternoon. Sangare getting the goal, coming back from 1-0 down in this one. Nemecha got a surprising 1-0 lead for Leeds. I think they only had 2 or 3 shots on target in the entirety of this game. Elliot Anderson picked up a 91st minute penalty for himself. The normal penalty takers for Forest, you had Chris Wood, you got Igor Jesus, you got Morgan Gibbs-White, all ahead of him. Anderson, at least fourth in line, stepped up, took a fantastic penalty. Just for a little while, I hoped a certain other player was about to take it, and Gibbs-White got himself a goal as well. I think if he would have scored that penalty in midweek compared to missing it, it would be on a lot more of our radars, playing more of an advanced role in this Forest team under Sean Dyche, getting more into a box crasher situation, playing alongside the centre forward in attacking phases. So for Forest, Sells got the 3-pointer. Nico Williams, 5 points for him, just missing out on a bonus point. And he was the player who was holding the ball for Elliot Anderson before he took his penalty. I had my fingers crossed. I thought, surely not. But then I thought, he's on corners. He's on some of the free kicks as well. Can he be on penalties to top it all off? Unfortunately, he handed the ball over to Elliot Anderson. Otherwise, that could have been an incredible haul and just a nice little bonus on top. Savona, just a 3-pointer for him. Milenkovic with the 4 on Murillo with the 2-pointer, getting himself a booking. Sangare playing at the base of the midfield for Forest, getting the goal, taken off before the 60th minute mark though, so not really one to target at all, and got 8 points. Elliot Anderson, 10-pointer, missed out on a bonus point, which is very not like him. Got himself a tackle point and of course put away the penalty, but he's not quite the Elliot Anderson that he was under Ange Postecoglou for that combativeness in midfield and point scoring wise on Sun Dream Team. Gibbs-White got himself another goal, an 11-pointer for him. Dominguez just a 2-pointer. Ndoye got the assist, I believe, for the Sangare goal. Very well worked. Chopped it across the box. Sangare finished it off. And Igor Jesus, just a 1-pointer taken off before the hour mark. And Mari Hutchinson, a player that has been pretty much exiled in this Forest team since his transfer in the summer from Ipswich, picked himself up 2 assists, just missed out on the bonus point. It's such a shame he's not in their European squad because he would be a very good player on our radar. I think what I saw in that game, I know it was just a cameo appearance, but there's lots of potential for his winger aspect and that dribbling aspect to very much play into Dream Team Fantasy's bonus points system. So for Forest, no clean sheet, but plenty of points scored, and that is a very important result in the season for them. And the final fixture for Game Week 11 was, of course, the big one of the weekend. Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. Erling Haaland getting the goal in the 29th minute. Jeremy Doku running riot in this one. Got a standing ovation after he was taken off, and rightly so. And Nico Gonzalez, I think it's Nico Gonzalez anyway, got the deflected goal just before half time. Liverpool, we'll start with them first. Really, really poor in that first half. Mamardashvili, 4-pointer, a lot of that coming from Erling Haaland missing his penalty. Now, for those of us who did captain him, I'll get to him in a little bit. But Mamardashvili, 4 points, it's okay. In a game where he's conceded 3, those of you who do own him, take the points and run. Virgil van Dijk, a 0-pointer. Very unlucky not to see that goal given. In my opinion, I've seen quite a few instances over the past few seasons where there's been a player in a very similar position to what Andy Robertson was in, and the goal's been given. I know on the Man City side of things, there was a goal, I think it was away to Wolves last season, where you had Bernardo Silva basically wrestling with the goalkeeper right up until the point where John Stones headed it, and that was given. And then you've got other instances where you've got Nathan Ake trying to flick the ball in the back of the net. To me, I know he's ducked out the way of it, but it's not impacted Donnarumma at all. He wouldn't have got to the ball, and that might have changed the game a little bit. Maybe it might have kick-started Liverpool. But when you watch this game, Liverpool were always second best. Andy Robertson taken off before the hour mark, just a 1-pointer. Connor Bradley just missing out on 3 bonus points in this one. A lot of these tackle points, he got himself one of them. And the PPM doesn't surprise me with how Doku was playing at all. Of course, he did go up 0.3 in value, going from game week 10 to game week 11. And his reliability is looking slightly better in that Liverpool team. But can we guarantee he's going to play every game? I'm not too sure. But for a cheaper differential, a cheaper option into that Liverpool defence with some decent fixtures coming up, you might be one to watch. Konate, disaster once again at the back for Liverpool, just a 1-pointer. McAllister, 1 point. Mo Salah picking up a 3-pointer in this one. Poor return, just a tackle point. Should have got a goal towards the back end of this game. Man City's defence just switched off. Salah got in behind, tried to chip it over Donnarumma, missed a goal completely. In a game, he wasn't really there, but he still should have got a return, in my opinion. Szoboszlai, 2-pointer for him, got himself a booking, and he's now on 4 yellow cards as well. Gravenberch, 3-pointer for him, got a bonus point. Florian Wirtz, blanking, 2-pointer for him. Started on that left-hand side once again instead of Gakpo. And Ekitike with the 1-pointer taken off before the hour mark. Nothing too much to note coming off the Liverpool bench. Isak was named amongst the substitutes, but wasn't brought on. I assume he wasn't risked because there was no point. The game was gone by then. Onto the Manchester City side of things, a very good result for them. I think since the start of the season, after that August period where I think they lost to Brighton, they lost to Tottenham, their form has been really good. And I don't think there's a coincidence at all. Sorry, I'm losing my words there. Basically, Donnarumma coming in goal massively helped him out. Instead of James Trafford. James Trafford was at fault for quite a few of the goals at the start of the season. I remember one against Tottenham where he tried to lay it out from the back. They caught him and Palhinha got the goal. Donnarumma, safe as houses in goal. And it was always going to be this case. It was never going to be fantastic with his feet on the ball, with his hands, most importantly. Incredible. He has that aura as a goalkeeper. He's got a massive frame, and I think he gives confidence to that back four that they've not had in quite some time. With Ederson, of course, one of the best ball-playing goalkeepers that we've ever seen in the game, but was prone to a mistake, and I think he brings that. Nunez, 11 points, just missing out on a bonus point and got the assist. Pep Guardiola keeps saying he's one of the best right-backs in the world. Now, if Pep wants to play him every week, I think Nunez comes on the cards massively. Diaz with an 8-pointer. Nico O'Reilly got the assist, had a big chance for a goal. Of course, didn't get the clean sheet because he is categorised as a midfielder. Such a shame. Gavardio, 8 points for him. Bernardo Silva got the assist, 4 points, no bonus points for him. Gonzalez, just missing out on 3 bonus points, so that yellow card was quite costly, cost him 3 points overall, 10-pointer for him. Phil Foden, pretty much a blank. Got a bonus point, but just the 2 other points for showing up. For those of you who did keep him after his massive haul in the Champions League, I think you'll keep him going forward as well. Jeremy Doku, 1 PPM short of max bonus points. An incredible goal. Really well taken from outside the box. 14-pointer for him. He showed a lot of form over the last few game weeks. The minutes are there. Can we rely upon him playing every game? Probably not. But his bonus points are well up there, as we expect on Dream Team. That's the kind of player that he is. Cherky taken off after the 53rd minute for Savinho. Pep didn't like what he was seeing and he was gone. And of course, Erling Haaland got the 7 points, but what could have been so much more. Of course, he gets the minus points for missing the penalty. He does get the extra point for the shot on target, granted, but it was a big swing in points. And for those of you who did go ahead and captain Bukayo Saka, that penalty miss was massive for you. If Haaland tucks that away and picks himself up a brace in this fixture, he's overtaken Saka points-wise. But 7 extra points for Saka captainers. I will gladly take those 7 points because at one stage Haaland was on -2. And I think actually -4 if you captained him. So I'll take the 7 points and I'll run away. Nothing too much off the bench for Manchester City. A very dominant performance. And Liverpool got a lot of work to do. Reviewing how my team went ahead of that game week 11, of course. Now it's finished. Now we've surpassed it. Now it's gone. 73 points for me overall. And most importantly, another big rank increase. We've gone from 700 and something in the world to 411th overall in the world, with no big booster chips played. There's no 12th man, there's no max captain, and there's no goal booster played yet, and only 2 or 3 of the substitution chips. I can't actually remember how I haven't used them since Palmer was injured at the start of the season, so it's either 2 or 3 of them used, and that's it. Nothing more, strictly points based. So 411th in the world currently, going into the international break ahead of game week 12. I'm very, very happy with the start of the season. Covering the team, Henderson with the 9-pointer, of course, got himself a clean sheet. Gabriel, 2-pointer, will probably go down 0.3 in value considering the price that he's got himself up to for his attacking returns, but he's probably going to be kept. Of course, Arsenal's clean sheets, they don't actually benefit me because for those of you who do have 2 or 3 of them, they normally hurt the rank, which is probably one of the big reasons why I've got a big rank increase this week. Munoz, 7 points, which we spoke about. If it's not picking up the extra bits and pieces, nearly 6 million in value, might need to be reviewed. Malik Chow, a 1-pointer against Brentford, will probably come out of my team this week going into game week 12. That price decrease can't be looked past, unfortunately. Nico Williams was a home fixture to Leeds, hoping for a clean sheet, but I'll take the 5-pointer. Ezra Konsa was one of my transfers in this week. I brought him in instead of João Pedro. More of a long-term play, as I said, spoke about in the Chelsea segment. João Pedro, I didn't believe he was going to play or start 3 out of the next 3 fixtures. So I have lost 3 points there, unfortunately. But thankfully, Martinez saved the penalty and didn't double down on those points losses, because if that would have been the case, I'd have been down 8 points on that transfer. So very lucky to keep the clean sheet. Ismail Assar, 4-pointer for him. Lucas Paquetá, brought him in for Anthony Gordon. Got himself an assist for, I think it was the Thomas Souček goal. It's showing a red card on the screen. He didn't get sent off in that one. He did pick up a booking in this one, which means he is suspended ahead of game week 12. Now that does pose a dilemma. He will probably go up 0.1 in value according to not only FPL, as always, link down in the description, fantastic website for price predictions and all data-driven related things. So do I keep him? He's not going to play, and use a substitution chip for him. That's still yet to be decided. Or do I just transfer him out for another player? But either way, I think Paquetá will not be involved in my team in game week 12 one way or another. It'll be replaced either by substitution or via transfer. If I do it via substitution chip, it obviously enables me to have another transfer. Who that could be, I'm still yet to decide. Bukayo Saka, of course, is going to stay. Will go up either 0.2 or 0.3 in value after that big 14-pointer. Decent fixtures for him. Mo Salah, 3-pointer, back-to-back home games in game week 12. I think a lot of people will want a few Liverpool assets going into this run now, but you're going to have to be bringing in Salah on a 0.1 or a 0.2 decrease in value, that is. So decisions to be made for those of you who don't still own Salah, and that is quite a substantial amount of the player base who hopped off him several game weeks back. And Haaland, 7-pointer for him, doubling up with the captaincy armband on him. So plenty of choices in this team. Do you go against the Arsenal defence completely? Now, that would be massively risky. If Arsenal pick up a clean sheet and I get rid of Gabriel, you're looking at a massive rank decrease. You're looking at 24 points down the drain if someone's got a triple Arsenal defence and you've got none. Well, I've got none anyway. So Gabriel, Malik Chow, Paquetá, maybe Ismail Assar. I know he came in, I know he's done well. But I think any player in this team that's either potentially going down in price or doesn't have great fixtures coming up might be a risk in my team. But early thoughts, of course, we've still got many days still to come until game week 12. We've got a full international break. Paquetá, Malik Chow, maybe Gabriel. Very, very small chance for him to leave the team. Very small chance, but he is on the short list. Ismail Assar, and I think I'll be keeping Mo Salah. I've kept him through more difficult fixtures. And with that double home one now, I think it's just a good player to own. And finally, to wrap up this early thoughts video ahead of Game Week 12, we are covering the Game Week 11 leaderboard. Of course, these are the top 10, the biggest point scorers so far in the season. And as always, there's some consistent names popping up here. At one stage, I was in the top 10. Unfortunately, I've dropped down to 15. So the people in these lists are well above 400th in the world. So massive congratulations to you lot. Incredible start to the season. Bring back Big Ange in first position. Jay Milligan, 62 points this week. So not as many as the people around him, but still a very healthy buffer. 1,293 points for him. In second place, Bratsworth SC. C. Hyatt. I always leave a comment down below if you watch these videos. How do you pronounce that one? 84 points in total for this week. 1,275 across 11 game weeks. An astonishing return. Rock and Roll Saw, J. Dean, 74 points for game week 11. 1,267 for him. Stranger Mings, G. Richards in fourth position. 58 points. So plenty of work still to do. With a better game week, you could have easily been in the top 4, but I'm sure you'll gladly take being in the top 350 in the world. Ridiculous start. 1,266 points for the season so far. And John GNPH, interesting team name. Either that or my eyes are absolutely knackered. 82 points for this game week. 1,256 for the season. And to complete the top 10, we got Wakey's Flops, P. Wakeling, 66 points for game week 11. AFC Lambretta in 7th position. I. Lambert. Every time I do these, I can't see. If you notice, I'm actually shifting closer to the camera. I can't see. 76 points this week. Can you stop me? I. John. I think that is again. My apologies. My eyesight is knackered. 76 points for him this game week. 75 points, sorry. Burton FC, M. Burton, 79 points. And to round off the top 10, Super Imps, S. Whiting with 68 points. As always, it's been an eventful top 10 leaderboard speaking and reading out. Big congratulations to these top 10 appearing in Game Week 11. Can you hold these positions in the next video in Game Week 12? That does indeed conclude today's video. Lots more content still to come over the international break. The domestic league and the European teams might have hung up their boots for these few weeks to go off jetting across the world for the international breaks, but we're staying right here on this channel, bringing you the Sun Dream Team content that we all need going into a very important festive period. Now, as always, if you could leave a like on today's video if you've enjoyed the content, 100 is the target, massively helps out the channel, and go hit subscribe down below. It's completely free. 1,500 subscribers is the goal. We're slowly creeping towards it, and that would be an incredible milestone to hit on the channel. Leave a comment down below on how your Game Week 11 went. Who was your biggest point scorers and who was your biggest disappointment in your team? As always, in the description down below on my socials, we've got TikTok, Instagram, and X, where I'm also closing in on 500 followers. So if you could, go follow me over there. It'd be greatly appreciated. I thank you very much for watching today's video, and you'll be seeing me in a new one very soon.